Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Luke, owner of Pressure Patrol, and today we're doing a house wash on this beautiful home out in Keller, Texas. We've got an awesome day planned. We're washing the front of the house, doing the driveway and the back pool deck, along with some retaining walls. After we wash the house, we're going to be also washing the outside windows because house washing can leave the windows dirty. So we're going to take care of that for the customer. Make sure you watch to the end because we have some really awesome before and afters coming. I'm gonna take you on a walk around so I could show you what we're working with. Let's go. So on the front of the house here, we got some algae buildup, mostly on these front two sections. This is the customer's main concern, getting all that black mold off of the stone. And it's a really porous stone, so it's gonna take a really good surfactant to get in there and really pull the algae out. Right here, we've got some green algae and growth, just basically run down from right there is starting to grow. Right here we've got this front retaining wall we're going to clean as well. There are new flowers here planted, so we have to be really careful around these because they can die very easily with bleach. So very careful around there. Use a pump up sprayer to make sure the spray is very localized and won't damage the plants. This point of the house is a little bit dirty, but not as much algae as that front section. So like I said, we're really just doing the front of the house. The sides of the house are all good already, so we don't have to worry about that. We've got this retaining wall right here that we're also gonna be cleaning. We've got some really heavy algae buildup. This is gonna clean up really nicely. We already got some yellow algae starting to grow on top of it. It's gonna come off really well. Here we've got the back pool area, a little bit more retaining wall. We're gonna do the floor of the concrete, whatever you call it, the pool creek. And it's gonna clean up really nicely. As you can see here, we got some black mildew just starting to build up here. We also got a lot of these windows that are gonna get a little bit dirty from the wash, and that's why we're taking care of those for the customer as well, so they're not left dirty. So here we've got this pergola. It's got stone and then stained wood top. But this wall has gotten really dirty just from rundown from the pergola. And that's gonna clean up really nicely. This is the customer's main concern because they normally have a patio and sitting area right here. So they see this all the time and now they're not, so. And here we walk out to the driveway. The driveway's got some minor mildew buildup here up on the top. And since we're already here taking care of everything else, the customer wanted us to do the driveway for them as well. You can see on this side of the house, again, there's no mildew buildup really, maybe a few spots here and there we're gonna touch up for them. A little bit of yellow algae growing on the lips underneath these windows. We're gonna take care of that, but there's very few spots here and there. Alrighty guys, so that was a walk around of the house. Now I'm gonna show you my equipment. You see what I'm working with. So I've got an 8 gallon a minute, 3,500 PSI deluxe power washer hot water option. This is one of the best ones they sell. This bad boy, this is a really good power washer. We got a 300 gallon tank. Just a good buffer tank for the 8 gallon a minute. Sometimes the water at the customer's house can't keep up, so it's good to have the strong buffer. We got 3 hose reels here. Got a feeder hose, got some pressure hose, and a soft wash hose that I am currently putting together. So today we're gonna be using 12.5% bleach with some surfactant. I'm gonna be mainly applicating with a pump up sprayer and some downstream. The reason for that is that I'm still working on my soft wash setup, so I can't use that quite yet. I've got some Apple Blast here. This is really good to use, especially on this Austin stone. It's very porous, so having an enhanced clean time is really beneficial, so you don't have to waste a lot of bleach. The reason I chose Apple Blast is because it has a really good smell. So in these nicer homes, you don't want to have that really strong bleach smell. 12.5% bleach doesn't smell very good, and all the neighbors are gonna be able to smell it. This will cover that up, and it'll help us penetrate the Austin stone and clean it quicker and more efficiently, saving us money on bleach. I got this at PowerWash.com. If you want to get some for yourself, link is in the description. So my pump up sprayer, I just got one at Home Depot. It's like 20, 40 bucks, something, I don't even remember. Works real good, 2 gallons, that's helpful. We're gonna be starting on the driveway, so I'm gonna take you all over there and show you my surface cleaner. All right guys, I've got the big guy surface cleaner. I believe it's 32 inch. It works really well because I've gotten 8 gallons a minute, so I can use a big surface cleaner like this. Make sure if you're looking to get a new one that it matches your unit's GPM. That's an important factor. I got it at PowerWash.com. If you're looking to get one, I would check out their website. The link's in the description. So let's plug in the hose and let's get started. We're gonna start at the top of the driveway and move down. It's easiest that way, so you're not cleaning the parts that's gonna get dirt right over it again. So let's start here on the top. Where I'm using the surface cleaner, I'm always looking out for little rocks or debris that could hurt the spray bar, because if you break your spray bar because a rock came up there and chipped it or whatever, it's a very expensive repair. So be very careful of that. Little wood here and there, that'll be okay, but any rocks or anything like that, you want to steer clear from. When I'm surface cleaning and I'm going next to a spot I already cleaned, I try and overlap it by just about ½ an inch or so, because the spray bar is actually right here. So if you go over here, you're not being as efficient, and you could make this spot a little bit more etched or cleaned than the dirty side. So you're gonna try and walk that line as close as possible, kind of like this. I also keep in mind what side my hose is connected on. So when possible, I wanna try and walk with the hose on the most convenient sides where I don't overlap it. When I first started, I would have normally cleaned like this. I would have overlapped my hose. But what I've learned is that you actually want to keep the hose on the dirty side of what you're cleaning, so you have more room, right? Then you don't have to overlap your hose, and you're saving a lot of time by doing it that way. When I'm using the surface cleaner, speed is very important, especially when you're first starting out. It's hard to figure out how fast you should go. And a lot of that depends on how dirty the driveway is, how big your surface cleaner is, and what your gallons per minute is. I know this driveway isn't super dirty, so I can go a little bit faster on it than like a dirtier driveway. For a general rule, I just step every 1 or 2 seconds and just kind of get it down like a rhythm, like you're mowing the lawn, you know? So what a lot of people don't realize when they get into the power wash industry is that the most important thing to do on a driveway cleaning is actually to draw a smiley face in the concrete. If you're not doing that, I mean, why are you here? So the ball valve, just crack it open a little bit. It helps if you have a dirtier driveway, but this will still do. Boom, smiley face. So take a picture of that, post it on your Facebook page or whatever you do. You know, it's just an essential for being a power washer. So when you're doing a large flat work, or you're doing a lot of flat work, you wanna make sure you're rinsing the standing dirt every once in a while, especially if it gets really hot. If you let that dirt dry, you're basically gonna have to come back and clean it again with the wand, because it'll get dirty again. So you wanna rinse it while it's wet, and it'll save you a lot of time. Yeah, so today we're just using cold water. I have a hot water machine, but because the driveway's not that dirty, it's not really needed. It might speed up the process a little bit, but there's really not a need for hot water today. I'm gonna let Trevor finish this off and probably just chill in my truck. It's a great part about employees is that you don't actually have to work half the time, so. I'm gonna let Trevor work with the surface cleaner for a little bit and get a head start on applying some bleach on the retaining walls, so that way we can let it dwell for a little bit. We're gonna pour some surfactant into the bleach tank. We use 1 to 5 ounces per 5 gallons. So we've got 15 gallons here, and we've got some really porous Austin stone. You can measure it out if you want, but I'm not that fancy, so I'm just gonna pour it in as I think. I have no idea if that's enough. All right, so I've got a tube right here that I can use to fill up pump-up sprayers. Comes down here, I've got a switch right here I can turn and then fill it up at the end of the tank. Same thing with my water tank. So I've got a pump-up sprayer with a little bit left over from the last job. So I'm actually gonna be going for about a 50-50 mix, maybe a little bit stronger. So I normally start with the water. So it has measuring marks on the side here for you to read. And that makes it a lot easier to know how much you have in instead of just eyeballing it. Look at that, very convenient. If you're thinking about building your own rig, I would highly suggest having something like this if you plan to use pump-up sprayers, because man, this saves me so much time. So I'm gonna move these plants out of the way before we start applying any bleach, just so that way we get underneath them. You know, we don't want to clean around them and then they decide to change decorations and think, oh, they didn't clean it. So make sure you move all decorations, and normally I have my customers move that, but every once in a while they'll forget an item or two, so that's okay. Alrighty, we got our pump-up sprayer. I'm just gonna apply just a light coat on the top. You wanna leave an area for you to walk, so you don't wanna walk in bleach if you don't have to. If you walk in bleach and then you walk into the yard, it's gonna possibly kill the grass, and that won't look too good. We're using a pretty strong mix, so it should clear it up rather quickly, which is nice. My pump-up sprayer has a little lever, I guess you could call it, that leaves the spray part on, so you don't have to use your arm the whole time. And this type of exposed aggregate concrete, the algae can grow pretty deep in there, so it's going to take a longer dwell time than just normal concrete. So you can see right here where it kind of stops growing, the algae stops growing. And the main reason for that is that this is getting more sunlight than over here. So algae can grow a lot better when it's dark, so that's why there's more algae there than like across this line. You can kind of see the shade actually. So now I'm going to start applying on the front of the house right here, hop on the ladder and get that started. So. Alrighty guys, we have applied our solution to the front of the house and we're doing a rinse. So we're just gonna rinse down all the windows, rinse any solution up there, and then reapply our final solution afterwards. Yeah, so the main point of this is to rinse the windows so that the bleach doesn't dry on the windows. And then also it clears off any bleach that we already have on the mildew, and we can reapply another solution. It'll kind of rinse away some of the dirt or some of the algae that it hits. All right, so we just rinsed down everything. We're gonna reapply our final solution and then rinse that off and then head off to the next section. Trevor is finishing up part of the house here, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this retaining wall over here. This retaining wall, they put in some new flowers right here, so we have to be really careful when we're spraying bleach. That's why we're using a pump-up sprayer. We can localize it and really be careful that we don't get any overspray, especially with all the wind on the flowers, because it could kill them. Alrighty, we're gonna rinse down the flowers a little bit just in case they got any overspray on them with the ball valve. ahead and get started on this retaining wall as well. At least get that first application so it can really start soaking in. Having that surfactant, it'll hang on for a long time and really dig in there. So it's worth it to get it on there, do something else and come back, because I've done a lot of cleaning. So this umbrella right here, customer said to, not to move it because underneath it's broken and it's leaking sand. So if we were to move it, it'd be sand everywhere. So customer requested specifically that we leave it there, and we're gonna go ahead and do that. So. Alrighty, we're also going to do a first application here of the Pergola, just to start, letting it soak in a little bit. You see, this buildup is really heavy here, so we're going to have to apply multiple times. And the main point of a first coat is just to, kind of get the process started, get the top level algae off. But I know we're going to have to come back multiple times. Alrighty, you see this this retainer wall right here is very, very dirty, and it's going to require a lot of bleach to get this up. And you see just how thick it is. It's probably never been cleaned. House is probably 20 years old, and it's going to come out great, but it is really dirty. You can see right here, only after maybe 5 minutes or so, it's really starting to clean up really well. I mean, it's night and day. She's gonna love that. So we're basically gonna keep reapplying until it becomes clean. Definitely no high pressure. You don't wanna blow out the mortar. And as you can see, this, just bleach and surfactant will take care of it for the most part. So we've applied this wall twice with our solution, and we're gonna come back and hit it with the wand, hit it with a little bit of pressure, not super high pressure, because we don't want to blow out the mortar. So I'm using a dual lance wand today. I love the dual lance wand. It is probably, I can't imagine power washing without it. I've got 2 tips, and you got a handle right here that can actually adjust how much pressure comes out. As you see right here, I can have full on the bottom, or I can lower it drastically just by switching the handle. So it's really handy when you're doing walls like this where you can't put super high pressure, but there's some areas where you need to keep it, medium pressure. But we've got a 15-degree nozzle on here, and let's get it to work. Alrighty guys, we're gonna wash down this retaining wall and pergola stone real quick. Alrighty, now we are going to start doing the flat work here on the pool deck and plug in the surface cleaner. When we're doing this, we want to be careful not to put a lot of dirt into the pool. So I normally like to start on the outsides closest to the pool and then work my way in. That way you can also have it drain towards the middle. So that's kind of where I go last. I'm gonna start in this back section over here. Alrighty, we just finished surface cleaning the pool deck here. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it all, make sure it gets in the drains real well. And then we're gonna hit that retaining wall one more time. There's still a little bit of mildew and algae that's really deep in there. We just finished up cleaning the pool deck. By we, I mean I. And we're gonna reapply on these retaining walls, get that remaining algae off, which should come up pretty easy since we've already applied, pressure washed, and then rinse that off. So hopefully this will be a last application. Alrighty guys, we just finished up with the pressure washer and now we're gonna start washing the windows. Trevor went ahead and took care of the front ones for us before he left. And we got these side and back windows. And yeah, let me show you what I'm rocking with. Alrighty y'all, so we've got a water fed pole set up, filters hooked up on the front. Shoots out pure water so it doesn't leave spots when it dries. Basically what we're doing here, just brushing the window, getting all the surface dirt off. Scrubbing it down real good, getting the corners, getting the edges. And we're gonna do a little rinse like this, rinse everything off. Sometimes get the grass off, you rinse it off. And so right now it's rinsing the dirt that we just scrubbed off the window down. And now it'll dry clean because we have the filter. Pretty handy to have one of these. If you do a lot of pressure washing, it's a great upsell for your customers because you know your windows will get dirty after you power wash the house, or wash the house. Yeah, we're rocking the Zero Pure system. This is a Zero high mod carbon fiber pole. Carbon fiber helps because it's a lot lighter, so when you're doing that really high 3-story, 2-story windows, save your arms a good bit. Just a real nice, easy rinse. They're not super dirty. They were cleaned, I believe, about 6 months ago. We plan to take care of them 6 months from now again. Hopefully we can do inside and out windows. I found in my market that window cleaning has been a lot easier for me to sell. I know for some people they don't like doing windows or it's different in their market, but windows have been a great service add-on for me to power washing and brought in a lot of extra business. There's a little bit to learn about using steel wool to clean the heavier or the dirtier windows, but you know, once you spend a little bit of time learning the process behind everything, it's really simple. It's a great way to, you know, serve your customers, you know, completely instead of having to refer out a window cleaner. You're gonna have to get your windows cleaned after you get power washing done. It just makes sense to do both. When you're cleaning windows with 2 panes like this, where there's one above the other, you wanna be careful to let the top one dry, because otherwise the water will drip before it dries on this clean window. And you have to go back and do the bottom pane. So I normally do top panes, top panes, top panes, and then come back and do the bottom. Obviously doing the 2nd story first, but that'll avoid any drip marks from getting on your clean window. You see this water-fed pole extends out really easy, so you can get the 2nd story windows without getting up on the ladder. I go side to side when I'm rinsing, just back and forth. Oh, you don't miss a spot. When you're using a water-fed pole, the really dirty windows that haven't been cleaned for years and just have dirt real caked on there, don't expect those to come off super clean with the water-fed pole, because you really got to get in there with some steel wool and scrub on it a little bit. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot that can go wrong with window cleaning. You got to make sure your filter's running good. You get a TDS meter so you're not running dirty water as you're rinsing and then it'll dry dirty. But so when you're looking for a filter, you need to take into account the kind of water in your area. So like over here in Fort Worth, we've got pretty high TDS water, and TDS is basically how much, it's the total dissolvable particles in your water, and so basically how dirty your water is. So for really high TDS areas, you want a multi-stage system to filter out the TDS more efficiently. Yeah, if you're really looking at adding window cleaning to your services, I would head over to windowcleaner.com. They got a lot of great equipment and information that I learned that really helped me. They've got a forum that's been going for at least a decade. I learned basically everything I know about windows there, and then obviously in my own personal experience, but it's been super helpful for me. Alrighty guys, we just finished up this house wash, window cleaning, patio cleaning, everything. I'm gonna show you all a walk around of the property and show you all how it turned out. Here you see in the front stone, it came out beautifully. I don't think there's anything left. It came out really great. The customer saw halfway through when we were cleaning it and was really happy about that. So that makes me feel great about that. And you know, all this stone came out really well as well. Everything just looks really great on this white Austin stone. Here we've got this little retaining wall that we have. We cleaned, came out really great. This was probably the toughest section out of the entire house, just in terms of heavy algae growth and just buildup over time, I guess, because there's a lot of shade, a lot of trees above it. That was an area where we put a lot of extra attention into. We cleaned the entire pool deck. All this flat work is done. Everything came out great. We've got the windows done. Just replaced all the screens and they look great. There's no dirt or anything after power washing. Here we've got this pergola lounge area. It looks great. All this white Austin stone came out beautifully as well. This was really heavy, dark black, and now it looks brand new, which is fantastic. Next, we've got the driveway here. It wasn't that dirty, but we could tell after we cleaned it and it dried, it was actually really popped in color. It's just so clean and white, and the customer's definitely gonna notice that. So overall, it's a great project. Really happy to get this done for the customer. Be sure to stay tuned for some before and afters. I appreciate you watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.